you know.
But you have an interesting travel experience of, at least with a customs, or Air Canada agent.
Yeah.
Would you tell that?
It was at an Air Canada ticket counter, and I handed him my information, and he went, "Oh, Mr. Ondaatje, I'm your biggest fan." I know I'm only going to be remembered for that.
Oh, but there was another one. There was a customs guy, too.
Oh, yeah. He said he recognized, he said, "Oh, the English patient. Yes, I will read that in the fullness of time." So I understand that when you're trying to book a guest, it's called the chase. Is that right? This is not true?
No, yes. I mean,
Yes.
technically.
Okay.
That
So,
sounds a little bit more proactive. I mean, like
yeah,
really active.
sounds like hunting them down.
Like stalking.
Breaking into their homes. Have there been writers who were particularly elusive?
Well, there were a number that were on my wish list for a very, very long time, and it took a very long time to get. And, well, one of them was Philip Roth. And in fact, with him, he had actually agreed to be interviewed and then canceled, and then agreed much, much later, much more recently. That was 18 years ago, the first time he agreed, and then a few years ago he agreed again and then canceled. And then finally last year he agreed, and I actually got to interview him. So I think the show needed to be around for 20 years just so I can get to interview Philip Roth, among other people. So he was probably the longest, the one I'd waited the longest time for. But I had admired his work for a long time, and it was a great opportunity. And in his case, I was able to interview him in his apartment on the Upper West Side of New York, and it was great. And the thing that surprised me was I had read some interviews. I hadn't read about a sort of razor sharp tongue or anything like that, but I had read some interviews with him, and he seemed quite truculent in an interview setting, even with people that he knew. I mean, when he knew the interviewers. So I was a little worried about going to see him, but he was remarkably gracious and patient, and not like with looking at his watch or anything like that. And he surprised me. I mean, I asked him a question that I wasn't even really planning to ask. I mean, it wasn't anything I'd seen anywhere else, and I was just curious about it in connection with him. And that was whether he would have wanted to be a writer, and we have a clip of that. What would you have liked to have been if you could live your life again?
Well, I don't think I would want to be a writer. There are many hard occupations, to be sure. This is one of them. It's very grueling because you're always an amateur whenever you begin a new book. Yes, you've written before, but you didn't write that book before.